Hey sis, I heard you haven't been eating or sleeping well. I had a spiritual healer bless this for you. It's supposed to protect the baby and keep them healthy. Once you wear it, the little one in your belly will calm down and stop giving you so much trouble. The familiar voice snapped me back to reality. The feeling of the bracelet in my hand was a constant reminder that this was real. I had been reborn. I clenched my fists, staring at my sister-in-law, Tina, who was chattering away. In my last life, after I married her brother Sean, Tina never liked me. But for the sake of family harmony, I put up with it. I tolerated all of her bullying. Thankfully, it wasn't long before Tina got married herself. The real twist was that on the very day I found out I was pregnant, she discovered she was pregnant, too. Tina's husband was an abusive monster who beat her relentlessly after they married. When she couldn't take it anymore, she fled back to her family home, which was actually the villa my parents had given me as a wedding gift. I felt sorry for her, for ending up with such a horrible man. When my parents sent me luxury skincare products that were safe for pregnancy, I generously gave her a full set. My pregnancy was brutal. Every night, the discomfort was so bad I couldn't sleep. When Tina heard about this, she offered to go find a spiritual healer for me. She even remembered that I liked red and picked out a beautiful charm bracelet. After I put it on, I started sleeping much better. I was thrilled, of course, and wore that red bracelet to bed every single night. I didn't think much of a few strange occurrences, but as my belly grew, so did the number of stretch marks. My stomach started to take on a faint blackish tint, and I grew worried. I went for a checkup, but the doctor told me the baby was fine and not to worry. When Tina found out I'd gone to the hospital, she feigned anger. I got this specially for you, and you don't even trust me. Only if you wear this red bracelet will your baby be safe. Though a sense of unease lingered, I kept wearing the red bracelet for my child's sake, right up until I went into labor. On that day, Tina and I both gave birth. I delivered a stillborn baby, while she had a big, healthy boy. Her in-laws joyfully welcomed her back. But because of my stillbirth, my husband's family treated me with contempt, and Sean insisted on a divorce. I couldn't accept it. Holding my lifeless child, I was determined to find the truth. On my way, I was knocked unconscious. When I woke up, I'd been sold and trafficked overseas. They cut out my tongue and sold my organs. It was only after I died that I learned the whole thing had been a setup by Sean's family. Tina's baby had been weak in the womb and wasn't going to survive, but she refused to divorce her abusive husband. So, she set her sights on me. The red bracelet was meant to swap my baby's life for hers. After I died, Sean started a live stream to search for me, with Tina crying her eyes out on camera. The internet was moved by their performance. They stepped on my grave to become huge influencers, making a fortune off my pain. I hid the hatred in my eyes and focused on Tina, standing right in front of me. This time, I'm going to have some fun with you. When I didn't say anything for a long moment, Tina's expression soured. What's with the attitude? If it weren't for the fact that you're carrying a boy. She clapped a hand over her mouth before she could finish. Sis, I'm just looking out for the family's heir. I let out a cold laugh, crossing my arms. My voice was ice. You being nice to me? Sean, who was standing nearby, immediately jumped in. He pointed a finger at me, fuming. You venomous woman. My sister is trying to do something good for you for the baby, and this is how you act. The two of them tag-teamed me with accusations. It was pathetic. I just sat there quietly, watching their little show. When Tina first ran from her abusive husband, I seriously advised her to get a divorce. But she was hopelessly in love and refused. I suggested she go back to their family's old house in the country, but she didn't want to do that either, preferring to stay in my home, eating my food and living off my dime. I felt so bad for her that I never once asked her to leave. Looking back, I was the real clown. I gave them a cool, dismissive glance. Sean stood up. What's that look for? Tina shot me a reluctant look, but she still walked over with the red bracelet. Sis, I really got this for you. For the baby's sake, you should. I smirked and took the bracelet. Fine. I watched them, taking my time. My stare seemed to make them nervous. Tina's eyes were red as she looked at me pitifully. Sis, I know I was wrong in the past, but I've learned my lesson. The baby you're carrying is one of ours, and I just want him to be healthy." She fluttered her eyelashes, but I could see the jealousy and resentment hiding in her eyes. I scoffed internally but took the bracelet anyway. It was beautiful, glinting in the sunlight. Tina had really gone to a lot of trouble. I accepted it with a nod. "Thanks, Tina. I love it." Seeing me take the bracelet, Tina and Sean exchanged a look of relief. Idiots. They couldn't hide a thing. I lowered my head, pretending I hadn't noticed. Tina went on for a while longer, but the bottom line was that I had to wear the bracelet every day, without ever taking it off, not even to shower. As I was leaving, Tina reminded me again to keep the bracelet on at all times. Only after I promised did she let me go. Back in my room, I took off the bracelet and my eyes fell on the pet mouse I kept. I fastened the little red bracelet onto the mouse, then clapped my hands and stood up. "You like swapping fates, do you? Well, let's see how you like this swap." I couldn't let Tina find out yet, so I had a nearly identical red bracelet custom made to wear myself. Sean would come to check on me every day, always asking about the bracelet on my wrist. He'd only nod in satisfaction after I showed it to him. Not only that, but I started mimicking the symptoms from my previous life. Whenever Sean was home, I would vomit constantly and make sure he saw my stomach, which I had darkened with makeup. All he ever showed was disgust. He never looked closely enough to notice. The days passed, and by the time I was 7 months pregnant, Sean came home unexpectedly. "Honey, I have to go out of town for work for a while. Take care of yourself." I watched him leave, a smile playing on my lips. Sean's family was ordinary. He pursued me relentlessly in college. Normally, I never would have gotten involved with a guy trying to climb the social ladder like that, but one night, I was being harassed on my way back to the dorm, and Sean saved me. One thing led to another, and we ended up together. After we started dating, my dad, afraid I'd have a hard life, made him the general manager of our family company. I settled in and waited. Sure enough, less than 2 hours later, pictures of Sean with another woman were sent to my phone. After being reborn, I had hired someone to keep an eye on him. Just as I suspected, Sean had been cheating on me all along. In my last life, they not only killed me but also slandered me to my parents, causing them to die from grief before swallowing up my family's entire fortune. This time, I wouldn't give them the chance. A couple of days later, Tina showed up again. She was bloated all over but so thin her ribs stuck out. A gloomy aura hung about her. Her beady little eyes were fixed on me, darting down to my stomach. I furrowed my brow, pretending to be in pain as I clutched my belly. "Tina, I don't know what's wrong. Lately, I feel like there's a weight on my chest. And I've started growing all this hair, like an inch long, all over my body. My stomach has turned dark, and your brother doesn't even want to look at me anymore. What's happening?" I grabbed her hand anxiously. Hearing this, Tina let out a triumphant laugh. I looked at her as she sneered. "I thought it was something serious. It's just a pregnancy. Why are you so dramatic? My brother is right to be disgusted with you. When his mom was having kids, she was working in the fields the day before she gave birth. But you? You get everything handed to you. My brother is way too good to you. If you ask me, you should be serving him, washing his feet and giving him massages when he gets home from work. You think being pregnant makes you some kind of queen? Pathetic." I felt like I was listening to the world's biggest joke. Sean was living off my family, and she had the nerve to say I should serve him? Their whole family was supported by my company. It seemed I'd been too good to them. They'd completely lost touch with reality. I didn't say anything more. Tina grabbed my hand, revealing the red bracelet on my wrist, the custom-made one that was a perfect copy. She rubbed it. "All right, stop being so dramatic all the time. Just wear this bracelet and wait for the baby to be born." She ordered me around as if it were her right. I guess it's my fault. I wanted to go back to the office, but the doctor said the baby is a boy, so I have to be extra careful. As soon as the words left my mouth, Tina's eyes lit up. "Is that true?" Realizing she'd overreacted, she quickly explained, "A boy is great. Our family will finally have an heir. You shouldn't move around at all then. Just wait for the baby to be born safely." I sneered inwardly, but my face showed nothing. After a little while, She said she was going shopping. Her only reason for coming was to check if I was wearing the bracelet. Now that her mission was accomplished, she wasn't going to waste any more time here. I nodded. Another 2 weeks passed, and Sean returned from his business trip. That morning, I had just gotten out of bed when I saw my husband. "Honey," he said, "I'm not coming home tonight. I have to go to my parents' place." After he spoke, I turned and left the house. But I didn't go far, I just waited in my car. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the woman from the photos appeared. I pulled out my phone. The hidden camera feed showed Sean and the woman all over each other. I smirked. It was time. My mind raced. Just as I reached the front door, a voice called out from behind me. "Sis, what are you doing here?" Tina walked up and stopped me from opening the door. I hadn't seen her in 2 months. And she was even thinner now, with only her belly sticking out like she was bloated. Her face was all sharp angles and protruding features. She looked grotesque. An idea sparked. I was on my way to a checkup for the baby. I felt like something was wrong yesterday. At that, she panicked. "Something's wrong with the baby? You need to go to the hospital right now." But I forgot my ID. It's still inside. Before I could react, Tina snatched the keys from my bag and unlocked the door, revealing the sordid scene inside. When Sean saw me, his face went white. He pushed the woman to the floor and stammered, "Wife, what are you doing back?" My expression contorted with pain. I clutched my stomach. If I hadn't come back, how would I have ever seen this little drama? I turned to leave. Tina grabbed my arm. "What do you think you're doing? My brother provides for you, gives you everything you have. So what if he finds someone else? Are you going to run off and tattle? Let me tell you, everything you're wearing belongs to my brother. I won't allow it. Get back here and serve us." She tried to pull me back, but she lost her footing and fell, her pointed belly hitting the ground first. "Help me," she screamed, clutching her stomach, sweat pouring down her face. Before I could say a word, Sean rushed over and carried her inside. "Tina, hold on, I'm calling an ambulance right now." Sean had always doted on his sister, Tina. Otherwise, he never would have let her get away with what she did in our last life. Now that she was in trouble, he was in a frantic panic, with no time to worry about me. Tina's screams grew sharper. From the side, I heard the squeaking of a mouse. Tina followed the sound and saw the red bracelet wrapped around the pet mouse. Her voice turned into a shrill, piercing cry as she stared at me. "The bracelet I gave you, why is it on a mouse?" I shrugged, completely unfazed. "You said it was for protection, right? This is my favorite pet, and she's pregnant." I felt so bad for her. I gave it to her. "Why are you so upset, Tina? Is there something wrong with the bracelet?" "I blinked innocently her." She didn't dare say more, and Sean, standing by, was also silent. After all, the issue of his mistress was still unresolved, so he wasn't about to jump in and make things worse for himself. Tina pointed at me, her eyes full of a hatred that was quickly replaced by pain. She clutched her stomach. Help me, someone save me." Just then the paramedics arrived. As I watched the frantic group rush to the hospital, I smiled, packed a bag with my essentials, and went back to my parents' house. The villa was tainted with a disgusting stench. I didn't want it anymore. I called my assistant and told her to find someone to sell it. When I got home, I told my parents everything. If I hadn't stopped him, my father would have gone after them immediately. After all, I'm his only daughter. He was never happy about Sean in the first place, but he couldn't go against my wishes. Now that I'd been wronged, he was ready to get justice for me. But I held him back. I wasn't going to let this go. I would make them pay for what they did. I heard Sean tried to find me several times, but my parents sent him away. After the incident, Tina stayed in the hospital to monitor her pregnancy. Feeling the first contractions, I knew my baby was coming. I took my bodyguards and went to a high-end private hospital. But just as my labor intensified, I heard a commotion outside. "What are you doing? The person in there is my wife. You can't stop me. Honey, I'm here. Let me in." "How did Sean get here?" I frowned, but I was in too much pain to speak. I could only hope the bodyguards outside were capable enough. After a while, the noise outside died down. But for some reason, I had a strange feeling in my gut, like something bad was about to happen. I was too exhausted to figure out what it was. I passed out and was wheeled into a recovery room. When I came to, I saw my parents standing by my side. My baby? I asked weakly. Their faces were grim. They said nothing. A cold dread washed over me. I grabbed their arms. Mom, Dad, where's my baby? My father sighed. Sweetheart, let's not talk about this. I carried this child for 10 months. I went through so much to bring him into this world. I have to know what happened. What is it? I gripped my father's arm. Dad, please tell me what happened. He hesitated for a long moment before stroking my head. Sweetheart, you have to be strong. He motioned for someone to bring the baby over. The moment I saw the child in the nurse's arms, I screamed. No, that's not my baby. The child in the bassinet had a sharp, pinched face and eyes the size of soybeans. Not only that, but its body was covered in black hair about an inch long, and it had a small tail on its backside. It had the face of a person but the body of a rat. How could this be my child? My baby was healthy. I had seen the 4D ultrasound pictures. Even if they weren't perfectly clear, I could tell my baby was plump and healthy. What on earth was going on? Afraid I was losing it, my dad quickly told my mom to take the baby away. Though my mom looked terrified, she took the infant. I grabbed onto them like they were my last hope. Mom, Dad, that's not my baby. I had been so careful, my child should have been fine. My dad took a deep breath, his eyes filled with pity. I know you don't want to believe it, but we saw that baby come out of you with our own eyes. I shook my head. No. Dad, that is absolutely not my child. Something happened. Just one look was all it took. I knew that wasn't my baby. My dad thought for a moment, his gaze serious. Are you sure? If I wasn't sure before, I was now, especially after seeing that thing, and after that scumbag Sean showed up before the birth. I looked at my dad and nodded forcefully. I'm sure. And I'm going to find out the truth. Just then my mom, who was looking at her phone, cried out, Oh no! My dad and I looked over. Someone had leaked a video of me giving birth to a monster. It was already trending online. My dad's face darkened. I'll have someone take it down immediately. I grabbed his hand. No, Dad. Let it spread. Though he was unhappy, my dad let me have my way. I arranged for the monster to be protected and had my people go online to fan the flames. Thanks to the people I hired, the story shot to the top of the trending charts. My social media accounts were dug up and flooded with hateful comments. I gave birth to a monster. It's God's punishment. Not only that, but they also doxed my current location. The hospital was swarmed with people every day. Whenever they saw me, they would pelt me with rotten vegetables and eggs. I could never dodge them all, and I was always a mess. Someone would always film my most humiliating moments and upload them online. On the surface, it looked like I was being bullied mercilessly, but only I knew the truth. Watching the online frenzy grow, I smirked. Almost time. The next day, Sean went live. He cried his heart out during the broadcast. Please everyone, leave my wife alone. It's not like she wanted to give birth to a monster. But if she hadn't been sleeping around, would she have had a monster? Tina's sharp, spiteful voice cut in. She was sitting in a hospital bed, her face pale, wrapped up tightly from head to toe, with only her bulging eyes visible. She looked terrifying. She forced a pale smile. Even now, my brother is still defending his wife. Ever since she married my brother, she's never lifted a finger, never worked a day in her life, and let him support her. But then she complained he was too busy, so she'd go out partying all night and not come home. Now look what's happened to her. She brought this on herself. The two of them worked in tandem, painting me as a promiscuous woman who got what she deserved. With the victims themselves leading the charge, the story exploded. Finally, my postpartum recovery period was over. I opened my phone. Tina and Sean were still tirelessly slandering me, but they kept repeating the same old story, and netizens were starting to get bored. Just as I expected, Tina's voice turned sinister. Doesn't everyone want to know how my sister-in-law gave birth to a monster? With that one question, the live stream's viewership skyrocketed again. Tina smirked. Since you're all so curious, I'll reveal the truth. Same time tomorrow right here. Don't miss it. I hadn't seen them in a while. They seemed to have gotten smarter. But an idiot is still an idiot. Even if they knew how to build suspense, they were just setting the stage for me. I made a call and had my contact get all the evidence ready. Tomorrow, I would expose their true colors. The next day arrived quickly. I put on a black dress, slipped on my high heels, and drove my most expensive car to their house. I stood at the gate. The live stream had already started. I gave a look to the 2 bodyguards beside me. Get that door open. In 3 minutes, the main gate was forced open. Everyone inside stared at me in shock. Sean was the first to react. He walked over, grabbing my hand with a look of deep affection. Honey, you're finally back. Do you have any idea how worried I've been? Don't worry, even if the baby looks like that, I'll raise our child. I smirked, a defiant glint in my eyes. Your child? A flash of panic crossed his face. Hearing the commotion, Tina came out of a room. The moment she saw me, she shrieked. How dare you show your face here? I'm calling the police to have you arrested. I raised an eyebrow, unfazed. I haven't broken any laws. Who's going to arrest me? I signaled to a bodyguard, who walked over and snatched the phone from Tina's hand. Tina lunged at me, trying to get it back. What are you doing? Give me back my phone. I laughed. Don't you love live streaming? I was afraid you couldn't hold it steady, so I had someone help you. I prepared this whole show just for you. How could I let you leave halfway through? The bodyguard behind me brought out the monster child. The second Tina saw it, she clutched her head and screamed, Monster! Monster! Get it away from me! That's a monster! Why is it here? She rushed forward to grab the child, but I sidestepped her, and she fell to the floor. The commotion attracted neighbors from all over, and soon the entrance was packed with onlookers. The child's face was exposed for everyone to see. Oh my God! What is that thing? That's disgusting. How can a monster like that exist? Someone should just smother it. Are they going to let it grow up and harm society? The crowd's murmurs were filled with undisguised disgust for the child. I stood there and smiled at Tina. That's right. It's a monster. Hearing me speak, a self-righteous person in the crowd yelled, What kind of heinous, unforgivable thing did you do to give birth to a monster like that? A woman like that doesn't deserve to live. Every word from the crowd was a blow to Tina's pride. Her face grew uglier. I sneered. Exactly, Tina. How can this child's mother have the nerve to keep living in this world? Tina quickly composed herself. She scrambled up from the floor. You demon. This child ended up this way because of you, its shameless mother. If you hadn't done all those disgraceful things, how could it have turned out like this? Now Tina was just throwing caution to the wind. She looked at me with open defiance. I knew exactly what she was thinking. She believed the situation was set in stone. Everyone thought the child was mine, and she had nothing to do with it. She could just dump all the filth on me. I handed the baby to a bodyguard, walked up to Tina, cracked my knuckles, and slapped her hard across the face. Tina's eyes turned red with fury. She glared at me. You shameless bitch, how dare you hit me? She lunged at me, ready to fight. But I was trained she was no match for me. I dodged to the side and she stumbled to the ground. I walked over and grabbed the clothes she had wrapped so tightly around herself. It's so hot out. Why are you wearing so many layers, Tina? As she looked at me in panic, I ripped her clothes off. Everyone in the room was horrified. She was so thin she was just bones, her body covered in thick, black hair nearly 3 inches long. Someone in the crowd started to retch. What is that monster? She looks terrifying. Get away quick. Ugh, so disgusting. Tina was trembling. Give me back my clothes. I feigned carelessness and cut the clothes to shreds. Oops, sorry, Tina. I'm so clumsy. I had the bodyguard place the monster child next to her. You know, Tina, you two really look alike. Tina shoved the child away, sending it tumbling to the floor. No. No. That's not my baby. It's not. Her crazed state scared the crowd, and they took a step back. I remained coolly indifferent. I never said it was your child. Why are you claiming it? Tina couldn't stay calm any longer. She stared at me with pure hatred. It was you. This was all you. I didn't deny it. That's right, it was me. You swapped my child, and you expected me to be nice to you. I pulled out my phone and played a security video. On the screen, Sean was seen running into the hospital, swapping the baby in my room with another one he was holding. Sean's face went white. He fell to his knees before me. Honey, please forgive me. If people found out Tina gave birth to a monster, her life would be ruined. She's my sister, I had no choice. Looking at the pathetic, sobbing man kneeling before me, I felt a flicker of complicated emotion. It wasn't possible to have zero feelings for him, otherwise, I wouldn't have married him. But after what happened in my last life, after he chose Tina without a second thought, any love I had for him had long since turned to dust. My voice was cold. Where is my child? Right now, all I wanted was my baby back. Tina, who had been sitting on the floor looking defeated, suddenly had a spark of light in her eyes. You still want your kid? Give me your shares in the company, and I'll give him back to you. Even at a time like this, she was still desperately trying to bargain. It was laughable. I let out a soft laugh. What makes you think you can threaten me? It was as if Tina had found my weakness. She scrambled to her feet and stood opposite me. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about it. If you refuse, you will never see your child again in this lifetime. I just stood there, completely unmoved. Sean, realizing what was happening, stepped in, still playing the peacemaker. Honey, just give Tina the company shares. Once you do, we can still be a family. We can have a good life together, okay? The look of deep affection he gave me was utterly sickening. I stood motionless, my face a blank mask. Tina, oblivious, kept pushing. You're not going to do it? Fine. Your son can die with me. At least I won't be lonely on the road to hell. You have no idea how much he looks like you. When I first held him, he wouldn't stop crying. He really must miss you. Too bad his own mother is the one who abandoned him. No matter what Tina said, my expression didn't change. But wait, Sean was smarter than that. He looked at me. The baby. At that point, I dropped the act. I clapped my hands, and a nanny walked in from outside, carrying my child. My baby was placed in my arms, plump, chubby, and smiling sweetly at me. My heart melted. If I hadn't already rescued my son, I never would have made such a bold move. I knew these people would never treat my son well. So when I went into labor, I had already arranged for someone to hide in the shadows and protect him. The moment they knew the babies had been switched, my person followed them and found my son. Now, with my child in my arms, my heart was finally at peace. Tina's voice was a shrill cry. No. Imposible. That's my child. She tried to lunge for the baby in my arms, but the bodyguards restrained her. Sean looked at me and immediately threw Tina under the bus. Honey, it had nothing to do with me. It was all her idea to switch the babies. It's all her fault. She's gone crazy. I was afraid she would hurt our son, so I stayed by his side to protect him. Honey, you have to believe me. Even now, Sean was still trying to deceive himself. I walked over and kicked him hard in the knee. He collapsed to the ground, wincing in pain but still begging. Honey, you really have to believe me. I didn't do it. I love you. I gloated. See that? Even your dearest brother has betrayed you. At that, Tina flew into a rage. She lunged at Sean and started clawing at him. You're my brother. We have the same last name. We're family. You promised Mom and Dad you'd always protect me. She had completely lost her mind. Sean, being a man, easily overpowered her, and in moments, her face was bruised and swollen. Sean walked back to me, trying to show off. See, honey? I took care of the person who bullied you. It seemed Sean was the most ridiculous one of all. I reminded him. Did you forget I have proof of you cheating? His face instantly froze. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. My expression was icy. Get lost. You disgust me. I held my son, whom I had fought so hard to get back, and felt a wave of relief. Looking at his little face, which looked so much like mine, I knew this was my boy. If I hadn't been so insistent that the monster wasn't mine, if I hadn't been prepared, I can't imagine what would have happened to him. After returning home with my son, I had my assistant leak the story of Sean's affair, and had him fired from his position as general manager. I had been merciful to him and Tina before, simply out of respect for our past, and a desire to not make things too ugly. I never imagined that he, the child's own father, could do something so monstrous. With solid evidence, my divorce from Sean went through smoothly. Outside the courthouse, he grabbed my leg. "Honey, do you really have to do this? If our son finds out about this, finds out he doesn't have a father, won't he blame you?" Even now, he was trying to use our son to threaten me. I kicked him away. "First of all, my son has nothing to do with you. He will be raised in a mansion, while you're just a rat scurrying in the streets. You will never see him again." Sean was no match for me and left with nothing. The video of the livestream also went viral, and the world was shocked to learn the truth. Tina became public enemy number one online. After the divorce, Sean lost his source of income and was left penniless. He had little talent to begin with, and with his reputation in tatters, he couldn't find a job. My assistant reported that he and Tina, both used to spending lavishly, blew through their savings in days. With no money left, Tina took her son and went to her husband's family, only to find he had already started a new life and was just waiting for her to walk into his trap. He divorced her on the spot. I heard Tina tried to use the baby to threaten her ex-husband's family, but her ex was already unstable. Seeing the child, he threw it from a high-rise building, killing it instantly. Then, in front of everyone, he beat Tina to a pulp. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. I just wanted to raise my child. A week later, however, my path was blocked. Tina stood before me, her eyes filled with tears. "Sis, please let us go." I laughed softly. "How do you want me to do that?" She started banging her head on the ground. "Sis, it was all my brother. It was all his idea. He wanted to take your fortune, get his new woman into the company, and kick you out for good. It had nothing to do with me. Like brother, like sister." They were both experts at shifting blame. I smiled and stroked her face. "Why don't you look behind you?" Not far away, Sean was staring at Tina with a dark expression. He strode over and grabbed her by the hair. "What the hell are you babbling about?" Then he looked at me. "Honey, don't believe her. She's a venomous snake." Furious at his words, Tina's eyes went bloodshot. The two of them started fighting, their brawl growing more and more violent. No one could have predicted what happened next. They pushed each other into the street, and a passing truck slammed into them, turning them into a gruesome mess on the asphalt. I just watched, a cold observer. Seeing that, I knew it was all finally over. Those two people were gone from my life forever, and all I had to do was raise my child. The sun shone down on me. I let a small smile touch my lips. The days ahead were only going to get better. Let's clear our minds and get ready for the next story. In my past life, Alex and I were the model couple of our company town. But only I knew what it was really like, a widowed marriage. His heart belonged to his long-lost love. He didn't love me, and he didn't love the child I bore him. Returning to the 1990s, I looked down at my 3-month pregnant belly, went to the hospital for an abortion, and then asked him for a divorce. This time, I decided to let him go, and to let myself go too. At the gate of the textile mill's company housing, my best friend, Nina, pointed to a tall, long-legged man getting out of a car. "Anna, look," she teased. "Your Mr. Director is back." I followed her gaze and saw the younger version of Alex. At 25, with his sharp brows and striking eyes, he had the kind of looks that could make a girl blush at a single glance. Seeing him like that, I finally realized it was real. I had been reborn, sent back 20 years to when I was just 3 months pregnant. "Your husband is so handsome and talented. He's such a catch, Anna. You're so lucky." Nina's words made my heart ache. Lucky? Maybe. But that luck didn't just belong to me. It belonged to someone else too. "Hey, he saw you. Why didn't he even say hi?" As Nina spoke in surprise, I watched Alex's gaze sweep past me without a hint of recognition. He walked around to the passenger side and carefully helped a woman in a white dress, who was holding a child, out of the car. He then escorted them toward the residential courtyard. "Anna, why is your husband giving another woman a ride? Does she even know who his wife is? Come on, I'm going with you to ask him what the hell he thinks he's doing." What could he be thinking? Probably just that he didn't love me. I stopped my hot-tempered friend, a bitter smile on my face. It's okay, Nina. We're over. He can be with whoever he wants. Yes, we were over. The truth was Alex and I were never a good match. He was the most promising young man in our town, already the deputy director of the textile mill at such a young age, while I was just an ordinary factory worker. We ended up together by a twist of fate, an arranged marriage set up by our parents after I happened to help his grandmother once. For Alex, it was a marriage of convenience, but I was genuinely in love with him. For that love, I endured a lifetime of neglect. But in this life, I would not torture myself for him any longer. I gave Nina a reassuring smile to quell her worried look, and then went back to what we called our home. I packed up all my belongings in the apartment and went to bed without waiting for Alex. I knew he wouldn't be back tonight. If I remembered correctly, this was around the time his old flame, Jessica, was going through a nasty divorce. He had to be by her side, comforting her. Sure enough, when I woke up the next morning, Alex's room was still neat and tidy, with no sign of him having returned. After breakfast, I didn't rush off to work. I sat in the living room and waited for him. Alex came back just before he had to leave for the mill. Seeing me still at home, he scowled and walked straight toward his room without a word. Usually, when I saw him like that, I knew he was in a bad mood and wouldn't bother him with my own problems. But now that I had decided to leave him, what did I care about his mood? I blocked his path to the room. Alex, we need to talk. Hearing my voice, he looked at me with utter disgust. What is there to talk about? I got you pregnant. As long as you have this child, no one can take your title as Mrs. Director away from you. What more could you possibly want? Even though I had resolved to give up on Alex from the moment I was reborn, his words still hurt. A sharp pain shot through my heart, for myself and for the baby in my belly. In my previous life, I gave birth to our daughter, but she was never happy because she realized that no matter what she did, she could never make her father happy. Children naturally love their parents, and even with all my love, she still felt a sense of loss and sadness. She was born into a broken home, witnessing her father's neglect and coldness toward me. As she grew up, she couldn't trust any men and never found happiness, not even by the time I died. The question she asked me most often was, "Mom, if Dad doesn't love me, why did you have me? I wish you had never brought me into this world." The thought hardened my heart. I looked at Alex and said, "If you're so miserable, then let's get a divorce. We can go to the courthouse tomorrow morning and file the papers." Alex looked up, stared at me, and then suddenly laughed. "Anna, is this some new trick? Playing hard to get? I know you saw Jessica yesterday. What, you saw us together and got jealous? Well, if you're so prone to jealousy, you'd better get used to it, because there's nothing wrong with my friendship with her, and I won't stop seeing her just because you throw a fit." Alex's words made my heart clench. That's how he was in our last life. He claimed he and Jessica were just friends. But they did everything but, making me and our daughter miserable for years. I managed a bitter smile. "I'm serious, Alex. I know you don't like me. A divorce would be better for both of us. After this, whether you're with Jessica or some other girl, there won't be anyone to bother you. As for the baby, you don't have to worry. I'm going to the hospital this afternoon to take care of it. I won't put you in a difficult position." Born into a family like this, our daughter wouldn't have wanted it either. This time, I wouldn't let her come into this world to suffer. Hearing this, Alex finally started to look at me seriously. He stared at my face, as if searching for a sign that I was bluffing. But I was completely sincere, and he could find nothing. He suddenly sneered. "Anna, you're really not afraid I'll agree, are you? You, an uneducated, penniless factory worker. What kind of life do you think you'll have without me?" The old Anna might have worried about life as a divorcee, but having lived a whole other life and witnessed decades of our country's incredible growth, I knew that leaving Alex would open up a world of possibilities. I would only be better off. I said coolly, "You don't need to worry about that." My repeated dismissals finally got to him. He let out a strange laugh. "Fine, a divorce it is. Anna, I just hope you stick to your word and don't regret it later. If you really dare to get rid of the baby and go to the courthouse with me, I might actually respect you for it. Don't come crawling back to me on your knees like a pathetic dog, you hear me? His words were like daggers to my heart, the pain so sharp I almost coughed up blood. How could I have forgotten? When it came to hurting people, no one was crueler than him. I used to be so desperately in love with him. Every time we argued, I couldn't stand his cold shoulder and would crawl back, begging him to take me back. I really was like a dog. But not anymore. From now on, Anna would live for herself. My face was pale as I said, "Don't worry, I won't give you a reason to look down on me. I'm going to the hospital this afternoon to take care of the baby. Tomorrow morning, I'll see you at the courthouse." Alex looked down at me, a cold smile on his face. Good. Courthouse. See you there. Whoever doesn't show is a dog. With that, he slammed the door and left. I watched him go, a bitter smile on my lips. It was clear he still didn't believe I was serious about the divorce. But he would soon find out that every word I said was true. I called the mill to take a day off, and went straight to the hospital. By the time I left, the child in my womb was gone. Back home, I lay in bed, my hand on my now flat stomach, tears streaming down my face. "Baby, I'm so sorry. In my last life, I brought you into this world without your consent. This life, I won't let you come here to suffer. I hope you're reborn into a happy family, with a mom and dad who truly love you. As for me, I have to move forward." The 90s were a time of incredible growth and opportunity in our country. This time I wouldn't miss out. The next day, I was at the courthouse early, but Alex was late. When I called him, he sounded like he had just woken up. I could vaguely hear a woman's voice in the background. Even though it was faint, I recognized it as Jessica's. They had spent the night together. In the past, I would have been consumed by jealousy, but this time, I just felt disgusted. "Alex, why aren't you at the courthouse? Are you backing out? You want to be a dog?" Alex was stunned. "Anna, you actually went to the courthouse? Are you serious? Just because I didn't come home for one night? Jessica's child had a fever, and I was with them. Can you please stop being so jealous and causing trouble? Don't make me lose my patience. It's just a lump of tissue in your belly. We're really getting a divorce." Even now, Alex thought I was using the divorce to manipulate him. I sneered. "You don't have to give me any face, and you don't have to worry about the baby anymore. I had the abortion yesterday. Just get down here and sign the papers." As I spoke, I heard Jessica gasp, followed by the sound of something shattering, and then a door slamming. 10 minutes later, Alex appeared before me. He stood there, his eyes bloodshot, his face dark as he stared at me. "Anna, you've got some nerve. How dare you? How dare you kill my child?" I looked at him, confused. He seemed to be furious, but why? He was the one who had been most against the child from the very beginning. "Alex, you're already keeping a mistress on the side. Why wouldn't I dare get rid of the baby?" He looked at me, completely speechless. "What mistress? Jessica is my friend. She's going through a difficult divorce, so what's wrong with me helping her out? Why is your mind so dirty? Don't you know that men and women can have relationships that aren't about sex?" Alex's self-righteous tone made me look like an unreasonable shrew. His words made the clerk next to us want to mediate. I cut them off coldly. What kind of friends are attached at the hip day and night, to the point where one of them doesn't even go home? What kind of friend gives his entire salary to the other, without supporting his own family? What kind of friend lets another live in his house for free, without charging a penny of rent? Alex, just admit it. You're a two-timing, cheating scumbag. My words made Alex's face darken, but I knew it wasn't enough. I played my trump card, a cold smile on my face. "Didn't you say whoever doesn't get a divorce is a dog? So you want to be my dog, director? Here, get on your knees and bark for me a few times. Maybe then I'll agree not to get divorced today." Alex, who had always been so arrogant in front of me, had never been so humiliated. Sure enough, his expression changed and he stared at me intently. "Fine, a divorce it is. Anna, remember, you forced me into this. If you regret it later, I won't forgive you, even if you beg me on your knees." "Beg on my knees? Never. Alex, I will never regret this." The divorce papers were finalized in minutes. The division of our assets was simple. I took $10,000 in one of the houses, the one Alex's grandmother had said she wanted to leave to me before she died. It was the same one he was letting Jessica and her son live in. I wasn't going to be one of those self-righteous heroines from a romance novel who walks away with nothing. This was what I deserved. Why shouldn't I take it? After that, I packed my things and moved out. I didn't rush back to work instead. I checked into a hotel to rest for a few days. I had just had an abortion and didn't want to risk any long-term health problems. I didn't want to go back to my parents' house either. I knew if they found out I had divorced Alex, they would think I was crazy and force me to go back and beg him to take me back. I didn't see anyone during my time at the hotel. I ate and slept normally, as if nothing had happened. But one night, I saw the pink thermos I had packed in my suitcase and broke down crying. It was the same cup my baby girl had loved to drink from in my previous life. After she turned 1 and could drink on her own, she would hold that little thermos and drink by herself. She would call me Mama in her sweet voice and bury her soft little body in my arms. But now all of that was gone. I had terminated the pregnancy, cutting Alex out of my life at a cost that felt like tearing out a piece of my own flesh. When we got married, he had told me that even though he didn't love me yet, he would try his best to be a good husband. But when Jessica came back, everything changed. He was no longer a good husband, and he would never be a good father. His infidelity killed the woman who once loved him so much, and it killed my baby. How could I not hate him? How could I not resent him? I would make sure he paid for it. I didn't expect that before I could even make a move, Jessica would come looking for trouble. That day, once I had recovered, I went back to the textile mill. But before I could even enter the factory grounds, I was stopped by my workshop supervisor, Linda. Linda, who had always had it out for me, looked triumphant, her arms crossed as she looked down at me. "Anna, you've been absent for a week. Our new director, Ms. Lin, has fired you. You're not an employee here anymore, so stay away. This isn't a place for loiterers like you to just wander in." "Director Lin?" Linda chuckled. "That's right, Director Jessica Lin. You didn't know? She's our new head of HR. She's a fair person, you know. She won't play favorites or pull strings for anyone." "Oh, I forgot." Linda covered her mouth with a smirk. "Some people aren't the deputy director's wife anymore, so they can't pull any strings even if they wanted to. You'll just have to pack your things and leave. Ha ha ha, now get lost." My heart sank. So it was Jessica. He really couldn't wait. I hadn't planned on staying, anyway. I had actually come to resign today. I didn't expect Jessica to beat me to it. Since she was in such a hurry, I didn't mind sending her and Alex to their doom a little sooner. I didn't argue or make a scene. I just packed my things and left the textile mill. But before I left, I slipped a letter under the door of the factory director's office, reporting Alex for abusing his power to parachute his unqualified, uneducated mistress into the head of HR position. This was the 90s. No matter how young and promising Alex was, a stain on his character was enough to nail him to the pillar of shame. Just to make sure Alex went down, I also wrote a letter to his rival, the workshop supervisor who had been competing with him for the deputy director position. I was confident that these 2 letters would teach that scumbag and his mistress a lesson. After leaving the mill, I didn't waste any time. I went straight to the house I had gotten in the divorce. As soon as I had the divorce certificate, I had someone send a message to Jessica, telling her to move out. I didn't expect her to be so thick-skinned as to stay put. Since that was the case, I didn't need to be polite. I hired a few burly guys off the street to help her move. Just as we were throwing her things out, Jessica, dressed in a white dress, came home. Seeing her belongings being tossed out the door, her face twisted in anger. "Who are you? Get out of my house. This is breaking and entering. I can sue you." The leader of the movers rolled his eyes at her. "Well, listen to this shameless homewrecker. Your house. Show us the deed." This was the company housing, surrounded by other mill employees. It was rush hour, and a lot of people were getting off work. Hearing the gossip, they all gathered around. Seeing the large crowd, Jessica's face flushed with shame, her eyes welling up with tears as she looked at me, seemingly wronged. "I'm not. Don't spread rumors." I crossed my arms and walked over. Right, you're not. It's just that Alex voluntarily let you live in his house for free, voluntarily gave you his entire salary, and voluntarily promoted someone who didn't even graduate high school to head of HR. After 3 years of marriage, I'm just now finding out how charitable he is. What? He gave her his house and salary? And she's not a mistress? So she didn't even graduate from high school? She's not fit to be our head of HR. Deputy Director Alex is so unfair. Yeah, but quiet down, here he comes. As they were talking, Alex arrived. Having finally gotten the freedom he had dreamed of his whole life, he didn't look as happy as one might expect. He looked haggard, his clothes unchanged, a stark contrast to the dashing man he had been just a few days ago. But when he saw me, the exhaustion in his eyes vanished, replaced by familiar annoyance and anger. Anna, I thought you had changed, but you're still as vicious as ever. You can target me, but why do you have to do this to Jessica? She's a divorced woman with a child, life is hard enough for her. And you're still pushing her like this. You have a rotten heart. I was about to lose my mind over Alex's logic. So he could do shameless things, but no one was allowed to talk about it? I grabbed the broom by the door and started sweeping it at the couple. Get out! Get out! This is my house, and I don't want any vixens in it. If you're so kind-hearted, Director, then take her to your own place. Alex shielded Jessica as they retreated into the hallway. He looked at me with a dark expression, then a defiant smile. Fine, Anna, you said it yourself. Jessica, let's go. I promise I'll find you a place 100 times better than this. He even shot me a provocative smile. Jessica, for some reason, blushed at his words and nodded obediently. Alex, thank you. Their back and forth, filled with affection, would have made me jealous and hurt in my past life. Now I just felt disgusted. These two were making me sick. I grabbed the broom again and swept it at them. Get out! Don't defile my home. Go be lovey-dovey somewhere else. I kicked Jessica out, but I had no intention of living there myself. Selling it now was out of the question. The future property values in the capital were going to be sky-high. Holding on to it was far more valuable than selling. I asked my friend Nina to help me rent it out. With everything settled, I prepared to head south. Back then, the southern cities were at the forefront of development. Many people who went there to start businesses struck gold. The day I left, after saying goodbye to Nina, I was on my way to the station when I saw Alex and his good friend Chris coming out of the housing complex. I didn't want to run into him, so I hid behind a tree and happened to overhear their conversation. Alex, who did you piss off? You got reported for abusing your power to get Jessica that job. You sacrificed a lot for her, got a divorce, and now you're in this mess. I say, if you like her that much, just marry her. You're both divorced anyway. What are you talking about? Alex said, annoyed. Jessica and I are just friends. Chris scratched his head, confused. If you and Jessica are just friends, then who do you like? Your ex-wife. Alex didn't answer. Chris was even more surprised. You really do like Anna? If you like her, why did you divorce her? Alex rubbed his temples. She's just too dramatic. She got rid of the baby over something so small. If I don't teach her a lesson, she'll walk all over me. Just wait. In a few days, she'll come crawling back to me on her knees, begging me to take her back. Her parents favor her brother. They'll never let her get divorced and ruin his reputation. Chris looked at Alex for a long moment, then gave him a thumbs up. You've got it all figured out, Alex. You really know how to handle women. You're right, you can't spoil them. Heh, I heard Anna's parents told her not to come home. Just you wait, she'll be back begging you in a few days. You'll have to really put her in her place then. Their conversation was like needles piercing my heart, the pain so intense I almost coughed up blood. I looked at Alex's retreating back and felt that the me who had been depressed over him for a lifetime was nothing but a joke. So he knew my difficulties. He knew my parents favored my brother, knew all my struggles. But instead of sympathizing, he used it all as leverage against me. Thank God I was done with him this time. Let him wait. The meek and humble Anna was long dead. I would never go back. I boarded the train south and started a new life, sourcing goods and selling them at a stall in New York. Having lived a whole other life, I knew that New York held immense potential. I had worked in a textile factory, so I had a good eye for clothes, and the styles I brought in sold out quickly. After a few trips, my capital grew, and I started trading cassette tapes, posters, and even beepers. A few months later, my initial investment had multiplied several times over. With the money I earned, I bought a storefront and decorated it with a bright, modern aesthetic 20 years ahead of its time. The clothing store was an instant hit, with daily sales reaching $5,000. When I called Nina to share the good news, she was overjoyed for me. "Anna, you really made the right decision. I knew you could do it. By the way, have you heard about Alex and Jessica?" I hadn't thought about them in a long time, and hearing their names now, I felt nothing. My work had completely filled my life, and the past was behind me. Still, I was curious about the impact of my 2 letters. What happened to them? I asked. Nina immediately launched into the gossip. "They're in deep trouble. I say Alex brought it on himself. He was cheating on you right in front of everyone, promoted Jessica to head of HR, and pushed you out, only to get reported for it. The factory director tried to sweep it under the rug, but Alex's rival, the workshop supervisor, somehow got a copy of the letter and blew the whole thing up. Now, not only has Jessica been fired, but Alex has been suspended too. Don't you think he deserved it? Everyone's calling them shameless. It's karma. Now they get rotten eggs thrown at them whenever they go out. It serves them right. Yes, people who are disloyal in love will eventually face the consequences." At the end of our conversation, Nina suddenly said, "Anna, Alex has asked me a few times where you are, but I didn't tell him. But I think he found out anyway. I heard he's planning to quit his job and start his own business, and it seems he's heading to New York. I don't know if it's because of you, but you should stay away from him. I think he's been acting a little strange lately, like he's suddenly deeply in love with you." "Okay, I will." I hung up the phone and sneered. I didn't believe for a second that he suddenly loved me. It was just a man's possessiveness. The one that got away is always the most desirable. But I would never go back for seconds. I quickly put Alex out of my mind. I was too busy. I used the profits from the clothing store to open an electronics shop, selling beepers, cassette tapes, radios, and video game consoles. My tapes were the latest and greatest, and my beepers were reasonably priced. The business was a hit from day one. Just as I was planning to open a chain of stores, Alex showed up. I had just finished dinner with my business partner when I saw a grim-faced Alex walking toward me. I hadn't seen him in over 6 months, and it looked like life had not been kind to him. He was haggard, with a dark, brooding energy about him. I, on the other hand, was wearing a trendy red dress, my hair in big waves, with delicate tassel earrings and 7-centimeter heels. I looked exquisite and radiant. The sight of me seemed to sting Alex. He strode up to me, grabbed my wrist, and ground out, "Anna, you seem to be doing pretty well without me. All dressed up like this. What, got a new boyfriend?" I studied him closely. His eyes were filled with resentment and jealousy. He was the one who had hurt me, so what right did he have to be resentful? "Let go." I tried to pull my hand away, but his grip was too strong. Seeing me struggle, his eyes grew angrier. "What, you won't even let me touch you now? Anna, you really have found someone else," I said coldly. "It's none of your business." "It is my business. Anna, you'll never get rid of me." Alex's words were fierce, but his voice was thick with emotion. After he spoke, his eyes even turned red. He looked as if he was deeply in love with me and couldn't bear to be apart. It was bizarre. Something felt off. Wanting to figure out what was wrong with him, I stopped struggling and just looked at him. Finally, Alex calmed down and pulled me into a tight hug. "Anna, I was wrong. I shouldn't have divorced you. I regret it. I really regret it. I can't live without you. Let's get back together, okay? I promise I'll treat you right and never be unfaithful again. This time, I swear I won't let you down." I caught the odd phrasing in his words. I pushed him away and stared into his eyes. "Alex, you're back too, aren't you?" He looked down guiltily. "Yes, Anna. I'm back too." "Then how dare you say that?" I was furious, slapping him across the face again and again. "You still want to get back together with me? In your dreams. You're a trash husband and a trash father. After what you did to me and our daughter in our last life, making us suffer for so long. How dare you say that now? My baby is gone, and you still want to ruin my life? You scumbag! On what grounds? Tell me on what grounds? I screamed, releasing 2 lifetimes of resentment. Alex, how could he? Just because I once loved him. Did he have the right to punish me like this? Who gave him the audacity to hurt me again and again? My bloodthirsty gaze made Alex's legs give out, and he knelt before me. Anna, I know I was wrong. I never really liked Jessica. I was just bitter. Why didn't she choose me back then? I wanted to prove to her that I was the best, to make her regret it. I never meant to hurt you and our daughter. After you died in our last life, I finally realized how wrong I was. Anna, I regret it. I really regret it. Please give me a chance to make it up to you. The proud Alex had never been so humble, but I wasn't moved. I just felt disgusted. He regretted it, but what was his regret worth? Anna, what's going on? In the midst of the chaos, my business partner, Frank, came out of the hotel. Tall and handsome, he looked 100 times better than the haggard Alex. In that instant, I found a way to get rid of this lunatic for good. I shook off Alex and strode toward Frank. Alex, your regret comes too late. I've found someone better than you. He's loyal and devoted, a far cry from a 2-timing scumbag like you. Alex was never one to take a loss lying down. Humiliating him in front of another man made his face turn black. He got up from the ground, stared at me, and then suddenly laughed. He's loyal? Does he know you're a divorced, second-hand woman? Hey buddy, you're not picky, are you, taking on someone's leftovers? Alex's words infuriated me. What a shameless bastard. I took a deep breath and smiled. He knows. But he told me that if you get bitten by a dog, you fight back. You don't have to be tied to the dog for the rest of your life. Frank chuckled. That makes sense. Who doesn't run into a few scumbags when they're young? Luckily, Anna has me now. I'll protect her. If that mangy dog dares to bother her again, I'll beat him up every time I see him. We left under Alex's dark gaze. On the way back, I spoke up. That was my ex-husband. I'm sorry for using you as a shield. I'll treat you to seafood next time to make it up to you. Frank looked at me with a half smile. Your taste in men used to be terrible. But I don't want to be a shield. Anna, why don't you consider making it official? I promise I'll be completely devoted to you and never change. I smiled and shook my head. Don't joke, Frank. Let's just stay business partners. I've had enough of marriage. In this life, I just want to be free. Yes, a woman's value is not defined by marriage. Now I had money, property, and goals. I wanted to soar freely, not be trapped in the confines of love again. Seeing that I had made up my mind, Frank didn't push it. After 6 months as partners, he knew my personality. Once I set my mind to something, I wouldn't change it. After that, I continued to focus on my career, opening one store after another. With the money I made, I started buying up real estate. Alex, however, didn't give up. He would show up from time to bother me. But no matter what tricks he pulled, I never softened. My connection with him was severed the moment I was reborn. I would not allow myself to repeat the same mistakes. Later, my business empire grew, and for my safety, I hired a dozen strong bodyguards. Alex still hadn't given up on me, but now, even getting a glimpse of me was next to impossible for him. When I had earned more money than I could spend in several lifetimes, I retired early and began traveling the world. Later, Alex got stomach cancer. Before he died, he wanted to see me. His family had many people call me, but I didn't answer a single call. I stayed true to my word and never forgave him. The moment I heard the news of his death, I let out a long sigh of relief and went to my room to open a bottle of fine wine. This was good news worth celebrating. In this life, the one who died of depression was finally him. Those who betray true love deserve to be unhappy. Alex, you got what you deserved. And I, with my endless fortune, would live a good life, a life you couldn't even dream of.